Thank you very much, Roberta, for this excellent presentation on the importance for everybody on the health performance of buildings. And then we can go into the other set of questions and hope that the participants can remain a bit longer if you are interested into the discussion. So let's start. First one, you talk about indoor air quality and effects on pollutants in health, but there are other problems like to avoid overheating and ensure the proper thermal comfort. Is that in the agenda too? Yes, so maybe I hand over to Atze first, but yeah, so let's, Atze, would you like to comment on this?
Yes, it's there too, and it's important, especially overheating, to address.
Yes, and and just one comment. So also, other stakeholders address these problems, which indeed the Commission doesn't speak about overheating, but rather fuel poverty, etc. But the problem is well known. For example, the standards address it, and also technical building systems, for example, preventing overheating, were now at least included in the definition of technical building system in the Parliament proposal. So yeah, there is a certain awareness about this, and it's a crucial issue. Yeah, passive house standards are selling the idea of being a path to NZEB, but it foresees an air tightness which is not compatible with acceptable IAQ, especially in warm climates. How do you see this issue? Passive house and IAQ in NZEB. Atze, again to you.
Yeah, I have to be a little bit careful now, maybe, but of course the passive house standard is developing all the time. I think a while ago it's had a lot of focus on energy, and it tended to forget certain things, for example, overheating. But so maybe we have to ask somebody that's related to the passive house standard. But what I've seen lately is that they are developing too.
Yes, so I can confirm this as well, and it's still a very commonly used concept, the passive house. So and they are evolving. So if you, for example, if you look around in Brussels, there is a program for exemplary buildings that are even sustainable buildings, and they all actually go with the passive house standards, but have proper mechanical ventilation also. To Christina, question, is there any evidence available showing how indoor temperature or other comfort requirements influence productivity?
That's a great question, and thank you for that. Yes, there is. There are actually quite a bit of numbers. I'll just throw a couple numbers out there. So the first one is workplace performance can be reduced by up to 10% when it's too hot, which is 30 degrees, or too cold, 15 degrees, compared to the normal temperature of the range of 21 to 23. And this is coming directly from the World Green Building Institute, and it's also incorporated within our infographic on our website. And another number I'll throw out there is when temperature is above 25 degrees, each additional degree increase leads up to 2% decrease in productivity in offices. So there are actually quite a bit of information on the subject, and there are many numbers that we've also compiled in the white paper as well. Maybe I can actually address the second question directed to me, if that's okay. Mm-hmm. Did you prepare any chance list of buildings that are designed, constructed, and operated? So that's also a really good question. So building for people it's not a standard, it's really a concept that we're promoting. It's a way of thinking about buildings that incorporates health, well-being, and productivity within a building performance. And we'd like to create more case studies. At the moment, we've promoted a couple from the International Well Building Institute, as well as from the World Green Building Council on our website. I mentioned Deloitte, which is Deloitte headquarters here in Amsterdam as well. So we hope to create more, so please let us know if you think there is a building that you'd like us to promote, and we'd love to get in touch.
Okay, thank you very much. And then I guess the next question is...
sorry, Anita, just a very fast comment.
Okay.
REVA, already 10 years ago or something, we produced a guidebook about productivity and environmental quality. It's called Guidebook number 6, and it's available through the REVA website. And it actually has this kind of data and numbers about the temperature effects on productivity.
Indeed, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thinking of this. And then the next question is, I would like to address it also to you first. So good designs is the solution for combining IAQ and energy efficiency, but this costs, customized design costs. And since there is a clear need for mass deep renovation to achieve our targets, are there any mass customization approaches such as energy sprung, and whether they deliver also an IAQ? Can you comment on this?
Yeah, I mean, of course, there are costs involved in the whole like improvement of building performance. I've been personally involved in a lot of projects where they did renovate them with like an energy effect, but then after 2 or 3 years they had to re-renovate them because they had all kinds of health problems. So you spend your money twice. So I think on the long term it's cheaper to spend your money wisely. And also, when we had the Healthy Building Day in Brussels, I made the comment that because if you look at all, I mean, the tasks ahead of us in terms of energy performance and health performance of buildings, you start doing it, you spend the money, but you also create a lot of economic activity, employment or whatever. So it kind of works both ways. So yes, there are costs involved, but there also are positive things in line of those costs.
Yes, indeed. And yes, just one comment. So the European Commission also finances research and demonstration projects also, for example, to increase the refurbishment rate and accelerate, make it cheaper, etc. And at least the projects where REVA is aware about and involved in, they address IAQ. So indeed, this is a problem that should be really taken care of in the future, but the tools are there. So, and also what can decrease the cost is, of course, every IT solutions, digitalization, and the building automation that can make a technical design and technical monitoring also cheaper and actually, yeah, decrease the costs. So that's how hopefully the future trend we are moving forward. And then a final question to Roberta. Are you also talking to financing institutions to develop specific renovation programs for those suffering of respiratory diseases, at least to begin with the residential building stock?
Yeah, well, yeah, sorry. That's a very good question, actually. We haven't been talking to financial institutions as such, but we focused rather our advocacy efforts towards government. But for instance, I can give you an example of a best practice of a success which is actually happening in Ireland, where the cooperation between several stakeholders, including one of our members, Asthma Society of Ireland, and the Department of Environment and Climate Action on the one hand, and on the other hand, Health and Health Services, has created actually a scheme which is called Healthier Homes for those with chronic respiratory conditions, which helps them also in terms, of course, of financial requirements to renovate their houses if they actually show that they have conditions, chronic conditions such as lung conditions. We are trying to share it within our members as well, although it's true that we have received some also critical comments when it comes to the requirements or to the bureaucracy behind that. So there are pros and cons, but yes, we are trying to make this happening more, let's say, in other countries as well.
Okay, thank you. And yes, is there data regarding air quality in refurbished NZEB properties? That's an excellent question. So I don't think I don't know. So for European level analysis, we might not have data, and it depends, of course, of the building type. If these are larger buildings and include some kind of a monitoring system, then it's feasible actually easily also to monitor air quality, and that was we and other stakeholders were advocating for. So if on some refurbished buildings, it would be not a big deal to tackle these as well. And now actually I turn to the other panelists. So are you aware of any kind of data collection and analysis regarding refurbished NZEBs air quality?
I think there are some Horizon 2020 projects that are about to start that at least touch this subject, and there's been some studies from the US, from UC Berkeley, where they at least looked at like people's, it's not real net zero energy buildings, but it's like green energy efficient buildings and how people perceive like the indoor environment and the air quality in those buildings. And they actually found that it was like slightly better in the well-designed energy efficient buildings. But there's not that much out there yet.
Yes, and then we have other case studies actually, I guess, also about the not well refurbished buildings, which then had problems later on the IAQ.
Anita,
yes?
just to take just the last question, which we have here, and no more questions. And while you're replying, I will keep the comments that we have received. We received quite a few comments this time. I will just keep them open, not need to read them aloud, just for people to see them, and then proceed to the end of the webinar. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, widely used thermal comfort model is the one of Fanger, which takes into account temperature, mean radiant temperature, humidity, airspeed, metabolism, and clothing. Is there any model for health quality indoors? Any similar models? Maybe I will ask Roberta.
Yeah. Yes. So once again, same answer as the one before. I know that there are studies, and we participated in some of these studies financed by the European Commission, so by the European Union on this topic. But I mean, it was, for instance, something about health vent or shade that they were more related to ventilation as such. So that was one of the main problems that we also encountered when we were advocating for this certificate. Then what we used was this CEN requirements for what is indoor air quality, but and then we go back to one of the previous questions. Is that compulsory? It's not compulsory. It's up to member states to decide. So we would like to have something more harmonized and something more legally binding. I'm not sure whether this answered the question. I hope.
Yes, I think so. So actually, I think we should, we should still use as much as possible the existing European and ISO standards or WHO recommendations on criteria, but but there is no specific health quality. But
can I shortly add to that? I mean, it's of course much more complicated if you look, because the Fanger model is about heat exchange of the body, like people feeling cold or warm, losing heat from the body. So from a physiological point of view, that's much more simple than looking at what something in the air does to you in terms of irritating your eyes or triggering an asthma attack or doing something with your heart disease or whatever. Having said this, at the same time, we do know a lot. We know like what levels of fine particles are dangerous to certain groups of people, etc. So the fact that we don't have a crystallized, like an ultimate crystallized model about, for example, indoor air quality effect, should not mean that we won't act in terms of policy the next 10 years. There's a lot of knowledge out there that has been developed since the 50s or 60s, and we should start acting upon that, I think.
Okay, so thank you very much. Thank you very much for the participants for the very active engagement and very good, interesting questions. Are they also available later online, Alexander, these questions?
We can do this. Yes, we can. We can do this. Actually, we did have quite a few, and now we are getting a few more. I can actually send them to you speakers, and you can see if it makes sense to reply to a couple of the last questions also in writing, the ones that we didn't have time to reply to orally. It's up to you, of course. But just a reminder that the whole webinar will be, of course, is recorded and will, of course, be made available next week on the Build-Up portal. Thank you from my part as well. I don't know if you would like to say any closing words to all speakers.
Yeah, I would just like to thank you for all speakers, and we received very useful comments as well, for even ideas for future seminars, so we will continue on these. And thank you, Christina, Roberta, and Atze, for your kind contribution, and we wish everybody happy holidays and Christmas.
Happy holidays. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.